Good morning. It is a beautiful sunshiny day. My dog has a stick and he's very happy about it. It's the best stick ever, huh buddy? Best stick ever. He's gonna have good times with that stick. Truth Convoy is back in my comments. Apparently she thinks that we're all good and on the same page again. She's still not my particular cup of tea. I respect and endorse her right to say stupid things. I saw a comment she made suggesting that the auditors are going to Leon Valley because there's a Republican congressman or something there. I don't know. It's pretty retarded. I think in just about in most areas of Texas, you couldn't throw a rock without hitting a Republican unless you're in one of the big cities like downtown. But what do I know? It's just a ridiculous claim to make. Speaking of ridiculous claims to make, I am still not anti-auditor. I am anti-violence, or at least anti-violence in the sense of trying to cause violence, trying to build people up for violence, encouraging violence. Everybody. Well, let me finish my thought on auditors. There are still a lot of auditors out there who I think are very solidly grounded and engaging in good auditing, or as Bunny Boots would like to say, testing. I don't know if any of you have been following Desert Sentinel, but he's actually been reading California case law, specifically regarding malls and the various California decisions that have granted Californians the rights to greater free speech rights in malls. I mean, I think that is a huge step in the right direction, having informed auditors out there who understand the basis of the laws, who understand the basis of the rights, who can actually determine from their understanding of the law where they're on solid footing and can make a logical analysis of when the mall may be right or wrong in the way they enforce the law or approach the person who's filming. In a stream I saw, the Bunny Boots Mike Blue Hair stream, they were talking about the heckler's veto. I mean, I think there are good things happening in this community. I think there are people who are listening, who are starting to understand the fundamentals of these rights, what they're based on, how they work, how forums work, what the analysis would have to be of any particular law or directive in order for it to be constitutional, etc. So I have not given up on auditors. I am not going out today, I don't think. But it is theoretically possible that I may go out today to do an audit. Again, not to be an asshat, but to go out there and show that if you're a normal person, then you won't get bothered just because you're holding the camera. Anyway, so I am not against auditors. I am definitely against the message that Mr. Warden was sending out. I know everybody wants to try to qualify it. Oh, well, he said in the comments that he's not trying to advocate for violence. Well, gosh golly, I'm sure, if a bank robber just, carries a note around with him in his pocket saying that he's not really trying to rob the bank. He's just, he just wants to show them his new toy gun. Well, then the cops are like, oh, well, in that case, There is a fundamental rule of evidence that you may have heard from time to time. It's literally based on the rules of evidence and hearsay. Believe it or not, videos can be hearsay. Believe it or not, I know you don't want to think that, but videos actually can be hearsay. Well, at least in California, you have to authenticate videos, and you have to show that it's not only show that it's good, but show that it's not hearsay, because the other side is going to be like, oh, it's hearsay, and you have to be like, oh, I'm bringing this in on not for the truth of it, but to show its effect on the listener or whatever, right? So his comment in the section that no, that's not my intention is going to be hearsay, and it will not be brought in for him, because remember, anything you say can and will be used against you. The video will be used against him. His comment saying no, this isn't my intention will not be used for him because it's hearsay. Unless Texas has some crazy rules on hearsay that I'm not familiar with. Anything you say can and will be used against you. And whatever David's intention is, if you look at the comments, you can easily see the effect his statements are having upon his listeners. If I showed that to a jury, if juries are anything out in Texas like they are out here in California, we'll most likely end up with some middle-aged housewives and elderly people on it. It's not going to go well for Mr. Warden, is all I'm really trying to say. It does not look good. It looks really bad. And I have advised Mr. Warden separately to seek the advice of counsel. I know he has counsel, at least in other matters. It might behoove him to spend a few $100s to figure out how much liability he's exposing himself to. Because I don't think he was thinking when he did this. Now, speaking of Mr. Warden has, in my estimation, undergone quite the evolution over the last, I don't know. He's been evolving. I've taken some exception to some of his interactions, and I started off very, very firmly in Mr. Warden's camp, even though, yes, it came out very quickly that he was a registered sex offender. I don't care. He's not going to rape me, so that is immaterial to my to the things that I need to know. But, oh yeah, speaking of which, on an off topic, no, I'll get to that. I'll get to that at the end. Remind me to get to that at the end of this statement. So I was very much in favor of Mr. Warden. He seemed to be very balanced. He didn't provoke the police. He stood out there nice and calm and collected, and he could have a reasonable discourse with the police. And he would tell the police, and he would act like he wasn't against the police, he was against bad police, and that is essentially my position. I maybe have I have probably smaller tolerances about what makes someone a good police officer, and I definitely have smaller tolerances about what makes someone a bad police officer. I think most police officers are on a spectrum, somewhere between good and bad. And your mileage may vary depending on how their day is gone. It is windy, so if you're getting a lot of wind noise, I'm going to apologize in advance. Or not in advance. So, I was very much a fan of Mr. Warden, but then I saw he was gradually getting more and more into trying to show the police to be bad. He'd make little videos that will tell you what the police were thinking, and that's bullshit, because he's not a telepath. And he would tell you why the police what they did without any evidence to corroborate it, and you know that's bullshit. And oh, he has all these informants inside. Oh yeah, okay, dude. All right, well, yeah. I mean, sure. I don't believe that for a minute, but sure. But then he just has gradually evolved to be less and less coherent, I believe. He got upset over the Fraternal Order of Police, which surprisingly enough, I mean, you never would have thunk it, but they're a pro-police organization. I mean, who could have seen that coming? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that the Fraternal Order of Police would be pro-police. I mean, it's not like Black Lives Matters is, you know, pro-black people or anything like that. I mean, you just can't tell anything from a name nowadays. So, he seemed to be going downhill somewhat, in my estimation. I know he desperately wants to defend that idiotic motion he did, the motion to dismiss, where he tried to use the testimony of an expert who had it was just terrible. I mean, you could watch my video on it. There's no way in hell that motion was going to go anywhere. He said he wanted to submit it, to save it for the appeal. No, dude, that's not the way it works. You're retarded. You're not going to piss on my back and tell me it's raining. I understand how these things work much better than you do. You're not going to bullshit me. His 44 Magnum. I mean, there's just been a series of events which have given me pause to doubt his veracity. Yes, that was a sprinkler head. Are you going to put your head in another one? And once you get me to start doubting your veracity, you're going to get me to start doubting your motives. So, I have been witnessing the slow decline of Mr. Warden. I always hope that there's going to be a snap back point where reality kicks in and maybe he goes back to his good old days of being just an aw shucks kind of nice guy who doesn't have anything against the police and is less biased in his analysis and understanding. So the thing I footnoted was you can't trust Hemming. I want to stress this. You can't trust Hemming. People want to point me to Hemming's little orbiters to, they're suggesting that they have some dirt on Mr. Warden. And they may not, and you don't know. Does Hemming have dirt on Mr. Warden? Maybe. Mr. Hemming is the kind of guy who, of anybody in this community, would be the most likely to have dirt on anybody if there was dirt to be had. How Mr. Hemming would get dirt on Mr. Warden, I don't know, because number one, Mr. Hemming isn't an attorney. And number two, as far as I can tell, Mr. Hemming doesn't have any special kinds of contacts anywhere that would allow him to do it. He may have paid for one of those online background searches, which I've seen before. They aren't terribly good. I wouldn't recommend spending the money on them unless the client is reimbursing you for it. I mean, it's not terribly easy to find out information on people unless they tell you. And I don't know, maybe Mr. Warden told Mr. Hemming something, or told someone who told Mr. Hemming. I don't know. But I do know that Mr. Hemming is a liar. And so I'm not going to take at face value something coming secondhand from Mr. Hemming. If you want to prove to me that you got something on Mr. Warden, then you stick it in my hot, sweaty little hand. But until then, no. You saying that you got something? No. You saying that people are hinting in their live streams they got something? No. People saying that somebody else has something? No. You know, if Mr. Warden himself told me that Mr. Hemming had something on him, I would smile and nod and be like, all right. Because it's one liar saying another liar has information. Do you understand how this works? I don't think most people do. Case in point that most people don't understand how this works is people think I'm defending Leon Valley. Still, to this day, they think I'm defending Leon Valley. Here's the way it works. People say, it's a slam dunk case. The defendant is a really bad, or I'm sorry, the chief is a really bad person, and he totally violated their rights by doing X, Y, or Z. And then I come in, well, okay, we don't know that he violated their rights because we don't know why he did this. If he did it for this reason, then there's this possibility. If he did it for that reason, then there's that possibility. But we don't know. So until we know, I mean, these are just guess. I mean, you are putting out a guess saying that that the chief is in the wrong. He's totally not in the wrong about the Padilla trespasses. I mean, you'd have to be a pretty terrible prosecutor to lose that. And you'd have to be a pretty good defense attorney to win it, because anyway. But back to the impound of the car. We don't know. I know Mr. Prickett opined with Benavides. I don't remember the exact case, but that case laid out a whole bunch of reasons why it is okay for the state to impound a vehicle, and by the state I mean the government of any flavor. It is a Texas case, so it is on point. But in Benavides, the rationale that the police department gave for impounding the vehicle was just safety. It was safety concerns is why they did it, and they said it was just standard operating procedure for them to protect or something like that the vehicle of somebody who's been arrested by impounding it. And that's what Benavides was looking at. So it's not saying that there is no reason to do it. It's saying that that specific reason doesn't cut the mustard. Now, I'm not in Texas, and I'm not in a position where I can look up where I can't shepherdize Benavides. So I'm trusting Mr. Prickett. I have no reason to not trust him on this point. But there may be contra. There may be cases that are contra to it. There may be cases that say that statute saying that if you're arrested in the vicinity of your vehicle, then you could do it. Because you got to remember, well, I guess Cardwell was more about they thought there was evidence on the vehicle. But again, we don't know. We don't know if Leon Valley believed that there was evidence in the vehicle of something. We just don't know. So saying that there is nothing is a statement of faith. Me saying we don't know, it could be this, or it could be that, or it could be something else, is not necessarily a statement of faith. It's me pointing out that maybe you don't know. So I am not of the mindset that Leon Valley is clear and innocent of all of this. It is my mindset that it's not going to be a slam dunk case, and Leon Valley has time to figure out exactly why the officers impounded the vehicle. See, here's how much we don't know. I haven't seen any paperwork from Mr. Freeman saying why it was impounded. Did he talk to a judge? Was there a warrant? You don't know. All we have is the word given by the alkaline water tree guy, who is admittedly biased in favor of the auditors, who said that he did not give the police authorization to take the vehicle. And that's great. Number one, he wasn't under oath. And number two, he wasn't cross-examined. Things can change when you're cross-examined. Number three, the police officer, who maybe a police officer talked to him. I'm not saying a police officer did, but maybe a police officer came up and said, hey, we want to tow that vehicle. Is that vehicle, allowed to be here in your lot? And maybe in a moment of just forgetfulness, he said, oh, I don't know whose vehicle that is. Yeah, go ahead and tow it. Until you get that police officer on the stand, you won't know anything about it. So I'm just saying that there is a lot of conjecture going on here, and me bringing up possibilities is not me defending Leon Valley. It's trying to keep you knuckleheads in some realm of reality. Reality is that it's not a slam dunk case. Reality is they are going to get to present their evidence, none of which you've seen. And some of the things that you are taking as evidence are not going to see the light of day in court. Most of the things you guys are taking as evidence isn't going to see the light of day in court. These auditors speculating on the intent of the police officers, on the motivation of the police officers, is definitely not going to see the light of day. Unless the defense counsel is just completely pathetic at their job. So slow your roll a bit on that. That's pretty much all I'm saying on that. I'm not saying that Leon Valley is going to win, but I'm also not saying they're going to lose. I'm saying that we don't have all the information. And I don't think Benvenida is dispositive because we don't know the reasoning behind the tow yet, or at least as far as I'm concerned, we don't know. All right, so another thing is I see I have just an ass ton of phone calls on my outward-facing phone. I appreciate everybody's attempts to reach out to me. I thought I made it clear that no, you're not going to be able to get a hold of me that way. Apparently I have a bunch of emails as well on my outward-facing email. Again, I thought I made it fairly clear that you are not going to be able to get a hold of me that way. Or at least you won't be able to get a hold of me very often. I don't respond outward to it, from it. So it's I know everybody wants to think they could just have me at their beck and call, but no. Again, your best way of contacting me is through Discord. You can find me. I'm always, the only server I'm actually associated with on Discord is Bunny Boots. But you can private message me in Bunny Boots Discord server. You can send docs. You can do whatever you need to do. You can give me whatever information. Oh boy. You can give me whatever information you think you need to give me. And the beautiful thing about it is, number one, I actually check it. Number two, it gives me a notification if somebody has sent me a PM or if somebody has tagged me in a general chat. And number three, you can have lovely discussions with people who are open-minded and free speech friendly in an environment that doesn't engage in censorship. He likes people to stay in the right channels, and he'll admonish you if you're posting something that should be in the blood sport channel, in the general channel or whatever, but it's not a huge. Pretty dog. Pretty puppy. Good morning. Beautiful dog. Such excitement. I love dogs more than I love people, I'll tell you that much right now. Anyway, yeah, so if you want to get a hold of me, it's Discord. It's Bunny Boots Discord, to be precise. If I remember when I get home, I will put a link to it in the description. You don't have to download an app. There is an app available, so you can access it from your phone. There's an app available for your computer, so it makes it, I don't know, easier, I guess, to access from your computer. Or you could just access it through a web browser if you don't want to download anything. It's nothing mind-blowingly amazing. It's just an IRC. It's just an updated skin of an IRC So, Internet Real-Time Chat, I think that stands for, if I remember correctly. That's been around since at least the 90s, if not before. So yeah, the way to get a hold of me, if you actually want me to see it, is through Discord. If there's something timely that you need to get a hold of me, well, pay me lots of money to make me your client, and then you can have timely access to me. But here's a fun fact. Even clients only get the firm email, the law office email. They don't get my personal email. And clients get the law office phone number. They don't get my cell phone number. Although they do get the boss man's phone number, cell phone number, but he does charge $500 an hour for calls made to it. He definitely discourages people trying to abuse his cell phone. And yeah, so I don't give out the actual cell phone that I actually use. I don't give out that number. I'm sorry. You guys are all cool and everything like that, even the trolls, but you're not gonna, yeah. Anyway, I guess I've rambled enough. I think I've covered everything. I wanted to cover Truth Convoy. She's still a nutcase, and she's a nutcase because, like I said, she's a conspiracy theorist who is ideologically biased, who's trying to force square pegs into round holes in order to fit her ideological agenda. I am still not anti-auditor. I am still very pro-auditor. I love some of the things that are going on in the community where auditors are getting educated as to what their rights are and how the laws actually work. I am despising the other parts of the auditor community where people are rejecting that, and they're apparently trying to force some violent confrontation with Leon Valley, which is stupid because you should just let the goddamn lawsuit go through. You get your injunction if that's an appropriate remedy, and then you don't even have to go there. But I guess stupid people need to do stupid things. So, whatever. Just remember, an attorney advised you not to do it. An attorney is telling you you're being stupid and exposing yourself to liability, and you have very little to gain and a whole lot to use, and you'll probably be turning the non-auditing world even more firmly against you. So congratulations, you're doing everything wrong. Yeah, so Truth Convoy is still a whack job. I am not anti-auditor. You don't have evidence, or you don't understand what evidence is, and I am giving you counter hypotheses. I am not stating that anything I have said is actually the reasoning of these guys. I'm just showing you how it could be defended by Leon Valley, and you're not understanding that is just indicative of why I'm a lawyer and you're not. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.